Forward to the cloud. All right, good morning, everyone. This is our last week of the 5 levels of leadership. So that means that we are on level 5. I am without my brilliant counterparts today, although I have a feeling that when Amy kind of flashes her camera on, I think if she were to like move the camera to another angle, I think we would probably see Sherry Grant somewhere in that. Am I right? There she is. They're on their way to a memorial service. So we are just going to hope that we do it right. So kind of interesting. I don't know how many of you guys were around then or how many of you guys took it in when we've done it before and just watched it. But back in 2017, which totally like blows my mind that it was 2017. But in late 2017, we did this book with Kristen and Wendy Larson and Brenda Martin and Lori Welch, and Eva was on there too from time to time, but they went through the 5 levels. And so I thought, I'm going to listen to their level 5 for today because they are like, those would be the people that would be level 5 leaders, right? Like they are the pinnacle, or at least they are level 4 going towards level 5, because the truth of the matter is not a lot of people get to level 5 in their lives. I think that we can have some traits that belong to level 5, but it is not often that you get people that sit on level 5. And so I thought, first of all, I'd asked if I could have a special guest today because I wanted to have somebody who was closer to a level 5 than I was. And then I thought, no, you know what, I'm going to listen to what they have to say about the level 5, right? Well, hilarious. They were like, so I think we're done. And they didn't even talk about level 5 at all, because they were like, what y'all need to practice is level 2 and 3. And so we don't really need to talk about level 5. Like, so they didn't talk about level 5 at all. I'm like, y'all are not helpful, in the least. I do think we need to go through the pinnacle, because I think as I was listening to it, over, because I will take any opportunity to listen to John Maxwell's voice, I think I would not have been a very good congregant, because I think I would have just zoned out at the tone of his voice, and just anybody else just find him very soothing. I think he could be on one of those sleep apps where you just have somebody read you a story and it just calms you down and he doesn't put me to sleep necessarily, but yeah. Anyway, when I was listening to it, because the pinnacle is respect. People follow because of who you are and what you represent. And what it actually really got me thinking about was attraction marketing and social media in general, and kind of how that works. And then I started to think about people who do social media really, really well. And I'm talking Emily Roberts. If you guys have somebody that you know of in Plexus or out of Plexus, I'd love to hear names of accounts. People who just, they attract people into their business or into what they're doing simply by who they are, how they show up on social. You don't need to have a personal connection, a belly to belly connection with these people, but they've earned your respect. They've taken all of these steps. And so when they put something out on social, people jump at it and they don't know who they are. They have the respect. Their influence has expanded. Do you guys have any of those people in your minds that you follow on social? Anybody? So yeah, Chelsea, go ahead.
There is there's someone that I don't know if this counts, but I started listening to Abby Kappa's podcasts, just kind of as free value, because she was giving lots of free value there, and I wanted help in that area of how to grow on Instagram and how to do that, whatever. And so So she was giving lots of free value. And anyways, she talked about Instagram, and then I was like, oh, I should go at her on Instagram. And so as soon as I saw that she, like, I had been watching her stuff for a while, and then as soon as I saw that she offered like a course on niche or whatever, I was like, boom, instantly. Like, it wasn't the, oh my gosh, is she seriously trying to sell something? I can totally tell she's selling something. It was like, she's selling something, I want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally trust her, and I totally feel like she can help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As it was, and a lot of it had to do with like the respect, level 5, aspect of it. I think, anyways, that she is has been. I mean, I really believe that. Yeah, and to this day, I really love anything she puts on. Anytime she suggests something, I'm like, oh, that's probably really good for anything in her stories. This is literally how influencing works. Like, but like, she posted a an Easter thing that another girl was doing. I think she was also a Plexus girl. I actually don't remember. That this mother hen or something. I can't remember. And she did like an Easter coloring Devo, whatever, with kids. And Abby just like talked about it in her story. And then I literally went to, this mother hen's like bio and totally got it. I was like, no question. And it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
And you have a ton of respect for her. Like, I'm pretty sure if you were to meet her, you would be like, right? It's celebrity. This is where the Plexus world gets a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I know you're a real human. Like, I know it because you show us all the time that you are a real human, but you have impacted my life so much, and I have such respect for you. And there are so many things that I wish I could tell you, but I have no words because now I'm just awestruck that you're actually standing in front of me, right?
And
like,
now I'm fangirling and doing the awkward things that make this awkward.
Yeah, I wish I could say I have never been there, but I have definitely been there. I have definitely been there. Yeah. That's a great example. And Diana threw in the chat, she said Brooke Knitz, and I totally agree with that. Brooke Knitz is another one of those people, highly influential. And then we start to think of, like, again, I know I've used her so often as an example, but we've got Celeste Gwynn. There was Emily Roberts, Emily Gibson, Brooke Hemingway, Megan Ashman. I don't know if you guys know that name a whole lot. She was the top earner for Success Sprints Q1. Sorry, I believe that she was actually the top earner for Success Sprints for all of last year. Phenomenal, right? And she pulls most people from Instagram. She's kind of a lesser known name, but if you watch, she is on the leaderboard almost every week. And interestingly enough, and I can't remember, I don't think I wrote it down. Maybe I did. Hold on a second. I've got my Leaders Retreat notebook here. When they did recognition for this, for Success Sprints for the entire 2021, there was a group of people that they brought forward with an award. Now, I really wish I could remember exactly what the award was for, but I want to say it was either for personally sponsored, like new VIPs, new ambassadors, or like that type of thing, right? So who do you typically see on there? Well, you usually will see golds and rubies. Gold, senior golds, and rubies. That's usually where you're at, because those are the people that are in momentum and they're going all the way to the top. So everybody on that stage receiving those awards were gold, senior golds, and rubies, except Megan Ashman, who's a diamond. She was the only jewel up there, and she had a really high sponsoring rate. And it is because she has a ton of influence, and it's an attraction marketing. So I want to say it's a different type of level 5 leadership, because people are giving you, like, you've got all of the other things, you've got all of the other building blocks for it. People are giving you, they see you, for her, it would be position, right? Because she has a ton of followers on Instagram, right? Permission, they're allowing her to speak into them, and they start this relationship with her, and it's very one way. It's Megan Ashman, and let me just look up to see what her, hold on a second. Oops. I'll have to look her up. I'm like in the middle of a story that I did. Very funny. Anyway, but it just really struck me. She was the only one that was a jewel that was in that mix of people. And I think that it really does fit into this leadership thing, and it's a different way, right? Like, we're looking at this as leadership in an organization. From our perspective, it's also like, where is your leadership level with people that they have chosen to fall under your umbrella without you even really realizing it? And I think it goes right into that pinnacle. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. She has done all of the other things. She's shown that she can develop people. She's shown that she can do production because, you know, obviously she's at the top. Let me just see if I can find her. Because, okay, so her Instagram is The American Farmhouse. And she has 71.3 thousand followers. Another one would be Trisha Rieger. She just hit 100,000 followers the other day. Really interesting. So quickly, let's go through. I really like how they say the upside of the pinnacle, your influence is expanded beyond your reach and your time. And I think that that's exactly what we were just talking about. It would be interesting to have a look into those organizations where people have that number of followers and they are attracting people, what their system is like to become a higher level of leader, because it's almost like they go out of order. I would love, I don't know where your service is at, Amy, between you and Sherry, I would love to see what you have to say about that. I kind of feel like when you've got that high level of influence with people, it's almost like you go out of order, because obviously with people who are just joining an organization like that, you've been given permission, which is the level 2. You can see production, like, but that person may not be part of those things. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well then you should start walking out there because you want to at the driveway.
Oh, Cheryl's got her mic on. Hi, Cheryl.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. It's okay. I muted you.
Sorry.
Maybe. Oh, there you go. I thought you were going to say something and I was really excited. So I can really understand as far as the downside of the pinnacle in that sense. The downside starts with it's all about you. Have you guys ever kind of gone down that rabbit hole in leadership where, especially with what we do, it can start to feel like it's about us and it's about everything that we do and everything that we show and all of the things that, like, because a lot of our job, like quotation marks, a lot of our job comes from social media, how we are showing up, the things that we are putting out there, but it's still not about us. It's still about the value that we give everybody else. So that can definitely be a downside for that. Says being on the pinnacle can make you think you've arrived. The other thing that can really trap us into is looking at a goal that you have. Maybe it's Senior Ruby and you're like, wow, when I get to Senior Ruby, I will have really arrived, right? I remember my upline telling me nobody ever falls back from Emerald, which is hilarious because that's not true. But at the time, that was possibly her experience seeing other Emeralds, because at that point, that would have been like in 2016, 2017. Once you hit Emerald, most people who were there just went, whoosh, right? Unless they did something stupid and left the company. But you start to think that there's like this false sense of security. you've never really arrived. I mean, we probably could say that Celeste Gwynn arrived, but she doesn't act like it. I just saw Melissa Eichenhorst, who does a ton of training for corporate. She is, I think they said, I think she is a 6-star diamond. That's pretty close to arriving in my mind. But again, it's a leader who doesn't behave as though they have arrived. And I would say Melissa would be a level 5 leader. Jessica Heffley, Tamara Holloway, the people who are on this trip for the most part, if you guys have been watching the Portugal people, there's a lot of level 5 leaders there. Thoughts? There's another point here in the downside. Being on the pinnacle can make you lose focus. And I think that, like I said, there can be almost this false sense of being at the pinnacle, because you can have workers on your team and people can be doing things kind of on their own without you, and you don't really need to stir the pot a whole lot. And that's okay, because we do have an organization that can at a certain point run itself, but you just have to ask yourself, is that really what you want? Again, we go back to the 5-star diamond thing. You can go to diamond with one really strong leg and adequate outside leg points, and you can be happy. That leg can produce diamonds or emeralds or whatever out the wazoo, and you're pretty stable. Like you're doing pretty good. And you don't have to do anything else. But if you truly want a legacy business, you're looking at width. You're looking at bringing other leaders along, right? And that's where we go right to best behaviors on level 5, make room for others at the top. You want more people to be with you. I want all of the people on this call to be in Hawaii with me. I think maybe only Linda was around when I used to say, being in Hawaii by myself is like sitting on a pile of gravel with my feet in the mud. Well, I've been, and it's a little bit better than that, but I did miss you all. But it's true. It's very different. You sit around, it's like being at leaders retreat, right? There were a lot of leaders that I knew who chose not to go to leaders retreat because their leaders couldn't be there, whether it was because of flying or they chose not to be there or whatever, right? It was sad for me that my leaders that earned leaders retreat weren't able to be there, because it's a celebration of your leaders, and you can celebrate your leadership all you want, but you want other people there with you, right? I love this on page 244. The leader's desire being succeeded instead of needed. Oh my gosh. That is like, I love that. And I think, I can't remember which call we were talking about this on. I think maybe it was last Saturday where we were talking about like working yourself out of a job as a mom. So Chelsea's sitting there folding laundry and I'm loving it. And your babies are going to start folding laundry alongside you. And then all of a sudden in a couple of years, you're going to be like, oh, look, they folded the laundry. It isn't done the way that mom would have done it, but they folded it. And I am not needed to fold the things. They can fold them and put them away, right? We work ourselves out of a job. Now, I'm sure that we've all encountered other friends or mothers of people we know. It wouldn't be us ever, right? It wouldn't be any of us who cling to those things that only mom can do, right? And we don't teach, or they, because it wouldn't be us, right? They don't teach people because they want to be needed, right? If they, Cheryl's like, hi. You don't teach people because they want to be needed, right? And, oh, I'll just do this for you. Oh, I'll just do this for you. No, it's fine. I'll just do it, right? It is such a slippery slope, you guys. Yes, we are needed. It is okay. Nobody will replace mom ever. But let somebody else scrub them toilets. Let somebody else make the meal. It's okay. I always laughed, and I think I said this the other day too, that my girlfriend, who she just graduated with her master's, so she's a psychologist now. She's a Christian psychologist. So if anybody is looking for somebody, I think she probably has a lineup. She's in Saskatoon. Anyway, when her kids were really small, they all had jobs, and she had the rag drawer down like right where everybody could reach it. So if there was a spill, the kids knew where to get the rags from, and they could go clean it up, and they knew exactly what to do and whatever. And they were cleaning bathrooms and whatever. And at that point in time, my babies were little, like super little. And I was like, you're crazy. Like, your kids do most of the work in the house, which was okay. But I'm like, this is going to come as a really huge wake-up call when you don't have kids at home anymore. She goes, I know. I don't know what I'm going to do, because it's really nice. And I thought, maybe by that time you won't have to feed them, so you can hire a housekeeper and they can do it for you, and you never have to do it again. That would be sweet. That would be amazing. But anyway, I digress. Giving people the tools to succeed and not absolutely need you. Again, boards. Yay, boards. Yay, boards. Speaking of which, I'm just going to give a shout out on here because, and she totally won't listen to this. Maybe I should tell her that she should listen to this now. I'm shouting out Crystal Welk today. She's had a season in her business where she has been just really laying low. And she sent me a picture yesterday. She's doing a booth at a greenhouse this weekend. She goes, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, it's okay. Do you have boards? And she's like, I downloaded it, but I don't know what to do with it. I'm like, here's the link again. It's everything you need. You need nothing else. Just go to boards and it will be fantastic. So if you think of her today, pray for her. She's a little nervous. Oh, leaders' perspective, seeing potential leaders as they could be instead of as they are. Isn't that one of the hardest things that we go through? Because I know that even though this is a level 5 trait, I know we do this, right? You meet somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, Linda, I know you do this. You would be incredible at doing Plexus. You would be incredible. Now to get you from my thought process of you being over here and never having tasted the pink drink ever in your life to coming alongside me and like getting you to gold and senior gold, right? Like there's a few steps in between. But we see that, and we see that especially in product use for people too, right? We believe deeply in how Plexus can change somebody's life, and people often don't see it. Or we see the leadership capabilities in people, or, you know, their personalities that they just haven't quite unlocked for everyone else to see. We're like, if you could just show that to everybody else, people would just follow you in droves. I'm talking to all of y'all on the screen. Continually mentor potential level 5 leaders. You know, I do honestly believe that everyone has the potential to get here. It's just whether we choose to embrace the potential and choose to do the hard work. And again, I feel like we talked about this. The reason that people quit in network marketing most often is not because the comp plan isn't right or people were quitting or, you know, whatever. It is because they refuse to embrace the level of personal growth that is required for them at the next stage. It's true. Although I will say that just in Plexus, because some comp plans are absolutely impossible. There are some comp plans that really are impossible. I don't know. I don't think I would want to sell leggings for a living. I've heard, yeah, some people can make a go of it. I don't think I could do it. Chelsea's like, nuh-uh, I could not do it. Could not. So thankful for our comp plan. Hey, speaking of which, how many people placed an NFR order in the last like 2 days? Hello. I said to Nolan, I'm like, yeah, Cheryl's like me. I said, do you know how big this is? I said, what did I order? I ordered 3 bottles of Mega X and a package or 2 of Hydroplex or Hydrate from the States. Maybe that's all I ordered. Earlier in the month, I said it would have saved us $46. FYI, If they're ever going to do an NFR special, it will be after the 28th. Just going to throw that out there, right? After subs go through, it only makes sense. So anyway, that's really exciting. I believe that it is still on today. Create an inner circle that will keep you grounded. How many times have they talked about the inner circle in here? Like, we need to get this through our brains. The inner circle is so important. So important. Does anybody have any thoughts on the inner circle?
What do you feel like that looks like for us?
When I was, okay, so when I was a gold, or not even a gold, no, I was gold. When I was a gold ambassador, I linked arms with a couple sidelines and we were power partners together. And that was my inner circle. We talked every day, multiple times during the day, touched base, whatever. And in that group of 4 people, one is a diamond and one is a sapphire and I'm an emerald and the other one is a senior ruby. And we were all like, I was the bottom of the pile when I came in. Everybody else was way far above me as far as, you know, their business. The one who's a senior ruby took massive amounts of time off. So she's still building a business, but not quite as intensely as the other ones. So I would say find sidelines to be accountability partners with, and then run. And it might take a little while to find the right recipe for people, but that's what I would say. And when they say an inner circle that will keep you grounded, I mean, like, you're going to have to put the time in for the relationships, and you're going to have to give them permission to speak to you. So I have another group of friends who I have no idea how I got in contact with, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of us in this group. We all have very similar belief systems and that kind of thing. And it's so good to be able to just touch base with them and check in with them. And it's all in love. So this is where the Plexus community is really, really important. You can probably find those people within Grow, but if not, go outside. I would say Team Awesome or Biz. I mean, Biz is so big now, but yeah, it's really good to create those sideline connections. The other thing that he talks about is like an inner circle in your own organization. So you might be the leader, but then having people with you that you lead that will give you honest feedback. And so just setting yourself up for those things too. But yeah, that's my thought on there.
Can I say something? I feel like maybe this isn't necessarily to the extent that you just described it, but this is one of the reasons why I just feel so excited about book clubs, because I remember when we were doing the Story Brand book back like last couple years ago, a huge changing point for me, just huge, because I felt so connected to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so encouraged, and like I had something to go off of as well. And it's not even necessarily that it's the book that we read changed my life, but it was like that like finding out that you guys are real people and that you're amazing and that you're my friends. I kind of view this like that. I'm like, every Saturday, I'm like, yay. It's the whole time we get to talk to each other and grow together. And this is really, I love it, you know? So that's how I feel about this.
Totally.
I feel like it's kind of an inner circle. And so I never want to miss it. I love it.
That is awesome feedback, Chelsea. I love that. And it's totally true. Like, how are you going to get to know people in this business unless you show up for the things, right? Like, I even think about like work and worship at 9 a.m. every Monday to Friday. That's how you get to know those people, right? You want to get to know your further sidelines, doing the book studies and the meet and greets and all of those things. Like, that's how you get to know the people, right? So I agree, wholeheartedly agree. And that actually brings to mind that we are doing soundtracks starting next week. My book should be here this morning because I only have it on audio so far. So Soundtracks by Jon Acuff. You probably can find it for free somewhere online. I don't know. I'm not really good at accessing that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a really great book. And that's where we're jumping in next. And I don't think it's going to take us a whole lot of time to go through, but yeah. Laws of leadership at the pinnacle level. We've got the law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Obviously, continuing to grow yourself and push into those other levels, attaining that level 2 and 3 consistently with people is really important in order to be able to pull up to level 4 and level 5. The law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. Now, this is something that's really interesting because as you grow in your business and your organization, your ability to evaluate things is going to change and it's going to grow because you will have other experiences that are going to lead you forward. If the only people that you are allowing to influence you are at the same level as you, and you never change levels and they never change levels, then you want to get yourself into a different room. Yeah, because we only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know until we learn it, right? So continuously changing up your circle of influence as far as who you're listening to is a really, really good idea. So like, if you want to know who you should be listening to as far as voices in the business, following who Plexus has on for their Motivation Monday calls, their Leaders in Action calls, all of those things, they are handpicking those people because those people are shining in the business. So that is a brilliant spotlight to look at people to kind of have their voice in your ears. I like this here. The more naturally gifted you are in leadership, the stronger your leadership intuition is likely to be. Learn to trust it. And if your gifting in leadership isn't high, don't lose hope. While it's true that your leadership intuition will never be as high as that of a natural leader, you can still develop leadership intuition based on leadership experience and reflective thinking on your failures and successes. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. The law of timing, we've got the law of legacy, the law of explosive growth, to add growth, lead followers, to multiply, lead leaders. Yeah, and so that's another thing, because I know it's similar in our business to, are you looking to attract just sick people into your business? Because yes, Plexus does amazing things for people's bodies and can really help you heal. However, we want to have people that are not just solely focused on healing crises and they're constantly through detox. Those people are not going to be able to lead more people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, for example, I just realized that my computer isn't plugged in. I'm still talking. For example, Jessica Hugendorn at a certain point in her business realized that she was just attracting sick people. And so her leaders weren't able to lead past a certain point because they were still really caught up in being ill. And so she had to realize that she needed to start attracting people who were on a higher level of leadership. And so that requires us to step up a little bit more in how we are attracting people. It is easier to go and look for people who are just super ill because we have something that they need, right? But you can look at some people and go, you know what, you don't have the capacity right now to lead. Yes, I can serve you well, but I'm still going to continuously look for somebody else who has the mental space. Maybe somebody who is, so for example, somebody who is going to the gym, really focused on health, like all of those things, somebody that might be a little bit intimidating to approach because they know the things, right? but you might just be that tipping point to what just really changes things for their lives, right? No, they don't need to be, out on the couch and can't lift their head and whatever. Yes, let's go talk to those people as well. But when you're looking for leaders, you want to look for people who are going to be able to lead from the get-go, right? We've got a brand new senior silver on our team, Chelsea Waddell, which congratulations if you're watching this, that's really exciting. And she's just been going great guns. She has a great health story as well, but she had the capacity to be able to start leading people immediately. So those are the people that we kind of want to have on our radar. Help others move up to level 4 and 5. So that's on 256. Create crucible moments for the leaders you develop. So basically creating opportunities for those leaders to become leaders, right? Something that I love focusing on is giving people the opportunity to lead within the team before they have a team. It's sort of like, here, practice on everyone else. Here's our team. Practice leading people so that when you get people, you've done this for a while. It's not like, oh my gosh, I've all of a sudden got to lead people. No, no, no. Step out and be a leader before there are people that you have individually brought on to lead, right? And so I look at a lot of you guys and I go, my gosh, your leadership capabilities are far beyond who you actually have on your team. You are a great leader. I would have no problem putting any of my brand new people in front of any of you guys. Doesn't matter what rank you are. You have become brilliant leaders because you are choosing to lead your sidelines, and that will pay off. I think I am so passionate about that. It's showing up for the woman on your left, right? We talk about that a lot. Any thoughts on that? I think that we've like literally talked through all of these things. But I think the guide at the back, the guide at being your best at level 5, I think really does speak to all the different levels. I really do. Remain humble and teachable. Being coachable is like how you go from level 1 to level 2. So it's still the same thing, right? Maintain your core focus. We talk about your why. I know that I did not catch it, but Bob Heilig made a video this week. Diana, maybe you've watched it, on how you can be successful in network marketing without knowing your why. I'm actually kind of curious about that. But if your core focus doesn't necessarily have to be your why, but it has to be something like, I have a deep desire to help people, or I have a deep desire to change people's lives, to develop leaders, to change people's financial situations. Like there has to be like the love, serve, grow concept has to be so deeply embedded in your core, because that's what's going to help you get up every morning and open your phone and not just go to Wordle. Nolan actually was so bored the other day. He goes, what's that game that everyone's playing right now? And I'm like, Wordle? And he's like, yes, that's it. I'm like, I don't know. I woke up this morning, he was playing Sim City on his phone. I'm like, well, that's an old game. That's a super old game. So I don't know. The poor guy. Anyway, create the right inner circle to keep you grounded. Again, like we could take that all the way back. Like all of these things, you look at it through a different lens when you're at a different level of leadership, right? Create a supercharged leadership development environment. Chelsea's talking about that, right? She has supercharged her leadership environment. She not only has brilliant leaders that lead her, she's also allowing Abby Kappa into her headspace, right? So she is looking at other people who lead well and going, I want that too. So I'm inserting myself here. Diana said Brooke Knitz, and I know she's going through, I think Diana, you guys are going through Bob Heilig as well. I love Emily Gibson. So there's a lot of things there, right? Create room at the top, obviously encouraging people to pass you. Please come and speak instead of me. I'd rather not talk all the time. Develop
I love hearing you talk. I guess I can't speak for other people, but I love hearing you talk every single day.
Well, I do it a lot, so thank you. I appreciate that.
I've even thought many times, like, I don't even think I would ever get, like, I think about, like, what if I eventually have an emerald team or a diamond team, and I'm just thinking, like, I just still want us to all be on Janelle's Zoom. Like, it's always so good.
Oh, that's so nice. And you know what, honestly, Chelsea, that's my dream for Grow is that it will continuously be a community where everybody feels like they have a seat at the table, regardless of how many jewels we have. Like that, like I just, in my mind, it's like a community, like, sorry, this is going to be really weird. But in my mind, it's like we all have little townhouses around this community garden and everybody goes and plants their stuff in the garden and stuff grows and people hang out together. And like, that's just my mind. That's just always how I've seen our Grow team, is that everybody just has a seat and they want to come and lead. And I'll talk more as nobody wants to talk, but when people want to talk, they can talk. So Chelsea, we want you to bring a diamond team. Bring a diamond team here. That's exciting. Plan your succession, plan your legacy, use your leadership success as a platform for something greater. And you know, how many times we read books like this that are just absolute solid leadership resources, and we draw parallels to Plexus that are so strong, right? Like, how many times do we hear that Plexus is not the be all and end all? We want this to create a platform for you to do something greater, right? So I guess I want to ask you guys, have you guys thought of what that greater thing is going to be, or is for you in your life? Like, what is Plexus going to allow you to do?
Do missions full time.
Mm-hmm. So Chelsea, what does that look like for your family? Does that look like local, or are you talking international, or what are you talking about? Like, what's the dream?
Both. I mean, wherever the Lord has us, you know, like some people might see, you know, doing missions locally as not super spiritual because they think, oh, that's not really missionary then. And it's actually really hard to raise support if you're a local missionary, because they think, whatever, just get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you cannot pour the same amount with a full-time job, you know what I mean? And so, but my desire is to be making disciples and being a light and bringing the kingdom of God wherever I am placed, whether that's, I am not joking, whether it's in the middle of the bush in a unreached people group where there's no running water or electricity, so be it. Or if it's in Winnipeg and the nations are in my backyard because there's so many immigrants. Or I have, oh, that was my baby girl pooping very loudly.
We didn't need that.
There you go. Well, sorry. I was like, I just want them to know I'm not farting that loud and it's my baby pooping. Anyway, as I do, you know, I didn't want to be like, wow, she's not flinching at all. She's just going, still going. Okay. But I want to, I just want to be able to have, I want to be able to do full-time missions, whether it's, you know, across the world or in my own community. And I want other people to see that as a possibility for their life. Because I think there's so many missionaries who they have the desire to do missions, but they can't figure out the finances. They can't figure out how to like raise support because their network is really small.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have the same kind of drive that you need to have when you're in network marketing to make it work. And so a lot of like, I just talked with a missionary friend a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying like, it's so hard to raise support. How do I do this? I'm like, you just got to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to talk to people. Marketing. I was like, this is literally network marketing, except you're doing it all yourself and there's no one below you helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it can get really hard because people stop supporting you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go find some more people. Mm-hmm. And no one's doing it with you. And so I just feel like doing network marketing as a way to raise support for missions is just smarter.
There's a lot of people that do it.
It just makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yep. I love that. And actually, Lucas just did a big inner city missions trip over Easter, and it was really, really impactful.
What was that?
Sorry?
What was it? Like, what was it?
So-
What did he do? What was it?
Through their school. So usually they've got two opportunities for missions. One is they send a team to Guatemala every year over Easter, because we have partnered with a school there, with our school. And so there's kids that go there, but that's about, I can't remember how much, $3,000 to $4,000 that they have to raise in order to go. And then there's an inner city option, which they open up for grades 7 to 12, and they can go and serve at one of the North Central. It's one of the North Central churches that they allow them to use their building, but they run Vacation Bible School for the week for any of the kids for like that area. And they had like 30 to 40 kids come. And Lucas's comment was just like, he's like, the kids saw us, like they saw us as good, wholesome people. Cause he's like, you just, how they clung to us by the end of the week, they didn't want to leave. And so it was super impactful for him. He did it when he was in grade 7, and then grade 8 and grade 9 was COVID. And so they didn't allow them to do it. And then they went and they served at the Salvation Army and the food bank and those kinds of things during the week as well in the afternoon. So there's a lot of opportunities. And what I love about that, just as an aside, totally not part of the book study, but as I love about that is that it really does paint a picture to the kids that mission field is in your backyard. And I keep saying to him, you can go and do this anytime.
Yes.
You don't need to wait until the school organizes it. Go volunteer
Yes.
at the bank, go volunteer at Healing Hearts Ministry, like go do that. Right? Like, yeah.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. That's literally, I am right with you there, Janelle. I think that there was a day that I realized it was like, wow, think about all the people we could reach in our own language, in a culture we already understand, where, you know, you basically have all of your necessities and amenities here.
You can live
at home.
You don't have to
worry about getting some like foreign disease, you know what I mean? And then have to, you know, like, and then just seeing, you're like, wow. Because the thing is, often what happens is you go to another country and you want to kind of assimilate into their culture somewhat, so that you know the people, you get really into it, and you have to relearn. It's a whole new thing. It's a lot of work to get to know how to do another language fluently.
Yeah.
And then all of the issues and all of there's so much paperwork, and you're just like, I can do the exact same thing here. How about I start here? How about I start here? And this can be my training ground for that hard thing over there, so I don't get super burnt out, because it's so overwhelming. I'm learning everything all new at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you think about like meeting new people and giving them the same tools to do the same kind of job as job in quotation marks is what we do here with Plexus, and be like, you have a heart for missions. Let's get you going with Plexus. And, you know, we're going to get you to a 6-figure income. And maybe you totally don't want to live outside of like, you know, 25 grand a year. And that's totally cool, but you can give the rest of it. You can choose to be super generous. And it's all of these things that, and also think about how much better you would be equipped to lead an organization, like missions or whatever, when you level up your leadership. Like, it's just, all of these things are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And then at the back of the book, there's that pyramid of success that I think is just really cool. And I also love that right at the top of that pyramid of success, and this is on 283, we've got faith. That's right at the top. And, you know, all the hard things, right? Like patience. Patience is on the other side of the faith, and it says good things take time. And so I want to encourage you guys that, you know, maybe leading a larger team or reaching those higher levels of leadership seem to be taking longer than you had anticipated. But I want to encourage you guys to have patience. Good things do take time. And just to really reflect on how many amazing things have happened to you because you've chosen leadership, because you've chosen to do harder things. I can't imagine where my life would be if it wasn't for doing something like this or doing this particular thing. I can't imagine what things would be like if Plexus hadn't come and completely wonderfully corrupted my life. I feel like I kind of got a shot of that this last week when I wasn't feeling well. And I was like, how did I function like this before? Because I also didn't have the clarity. I didn't have like, I just had so much more support backing everything. And then I had a purpose too. It wasn't just, not that my kids weren't ever a purpose. It was just a function, right? Like I still had to be a mom. I still had to, throw some food on a plate. I still had to do all of those things. But I was like, I don't have time for pain. I don't have time for this ridiculous distraction because I've got people to talk to and I've got things to do. And I've got, I need to be inspiring, and I can't be inspiring if I'm on the couch with a cold pack on my head. But yeah, I really love this whole thing. And I think I'm wondering if we can find it outside the book so we could like blow it up a little bit more. Because I think that it's just so brilliant, all of these things. So yeah, I hope that this book has spoken to you where you're at, even if you have read it before. I feel like it's one of those staples that a person could read pretty much every year, at least, along with the 21 Laws. And I think, it's just one of those really timeless leadership books. So I thank you guys so much for putting in the work and being here and all of the things. The other thing that I really want to encourage you guys on is, even though we are on this personal development journey, it doesn't matter how much personal development you do. If you aren't doing the asking of other people to come and join you, you will not have the opportunity to lead more people to do more of the leadership development. So this is all good. And the soundtracks book is going to be all good. But unless we're actually doing the IPA, inviting people to events, creating events, doing the asks, showing up, then it is just on paper. We want to put these things into practice. And so I would really encourage you guys to set yourselves up positively to have an amazing end of month, because today is the end of the month, but B, an amazing May where you actually get to go out and use these skills. And give yourself the opportunity to step out and be scared and step out and be uncomfortable, and allow yourself the people to start at level 1 with, then progress to level 2 with, then see if you can get to level 3 with, right? It's a totally different view, right? Like if you view your relationships now and your business as, okay, where am I at with this person? Okay, I'm a level 1 leader with this person. How can I get up to level 2? What can I pour into this relationship to bring myself up to a level 2 leader with them? How can I develop them more? How can I, right? If we start looking at it by the laws, instead of just, oh, it's just a person, it's just a relation, like, oh, I've just got to get them through detox. So I got, if our goal is to become, level 2, level 3, level 4 leaders with all of our individuals, how would our interactions change? So thank you guys for being in this space with us. You're such a blessing on Saturday mornings. We've missed Jimmy and Sherry and Amy and all of the people that are, and Brenna and the people that are typically with us, but we will reconvene next week at 9 a.m. And have an awesome week, you guys. I'm excited to see where we end at the end of the day. Don't forget that whatever you do today, even if it doesn't come to fruition today, at some point in time, it will in the future. So just do the do today, as Genevieve says. And open-handed blessings, guys. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Love you all.